Welcome to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and of course a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend Guard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School. I also hold 2 fellowships right now, one at the Business School and one at the Newcomb Institute at Tulane, and I just want to quilt. So at the end of March, we interviewed Ebony Love, a longtime friend of this show and amazing. She's of Love Bug Studios. And this is an interview of her talking about sort of what's happening at the end of March with COVID-19. Now she is working on a retreat that's happening my birthday weekend, June 5th to 7th. That looks really fun, an at-home retreat. And so if you're interested in that, go to Love Bug Studios. But this is her impressions of the world and what was going on at the end of March. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm very tired, but good. You know, just emotionally exhausting and physically exhausting, you know?
Yeah, I totally get it. Absolutely.
Somebody at school yesterday asked me how my sabbatical was going. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, well, that's funny.
Yeah, no, that's, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's like I'm on the sabbatical, but I can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also just like, it's supposed to be like quiet writing time. And it's like, yeah. Sure. So anyway, it is what it is. We have it far better than so many people, so I'm not complaining. I'm just, ready for a nap. So
yeah.
Today our family was a little more cranky with each other. It's interesting. We've been in together since March 13th, and I think they're really irritated at me today. Like I'm the focus of like being irritating. So.
So about 2 weeks is the limit.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think I'll make them some cake or something. Try to go to bed early. Let them have some time without me. I don't know. So.
Yeah. Everybody's got to kind of decide their, what their limit is. I know last week I just emailed my boss and I was like, I'm taking Monday off.
I saw that. That was really good.
Yeah,
that's really good. Now, I thought we just talked for like 20 minutes. We're checking in with people who we love, and you're one of the people we love. And what we're getting is a response that people are really happy to hear your voice when we're talking to people that we know. So my thought was, well, first of all, we know that I know all this information. Tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Ebony Love from Love Bug Studios, and I'm in Northern Illinois.
So how are things in your neck of the woods?
So things here are okay. I have been kind of social distancing for a few weeks, but in general, I social distance.
Yeah, I get it.
So the past few weeks haven't been much different,
No, me either, Ebony.
Yeah.
I just feel like the world has caught up to us.
Yeah, exactly. And I see people, posting just about how like they're going stir crazy inside, and I'm like, are you kidding? This is great.
I know.
Not the, of course, not the reason for it, but
right.
But it's like, this is just another regular day.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So tell me a little bit about, you're at home. I don't know if you want to talk about work or not, but you work for a major company. Has there been a lot to get I imagine that it's a very busy time for your company.
Yeah. So the company that I work for has been deemed essential services because we're in the food industry. So for the most part, we get to stay open, except in locations that are, that have completely shut down. So like in the UK and in France, our restaurants are completely shut down. But here in the US, it's, I wouldn't say business as usual, because obviously we have to close the dining rooms, but there's takeout and, there's drive-through and there's delivery. So so from that standpoint, and I work in technology, so working from home is it's not a novel concept. It's something that I've been doing for, for years and years. So I will say that there's a lot more, I feel like I'm in a lot more meetings, and, there's stuff that has to get done. I feel like I work a lot more hours. But, but from that standpoint, it's really, before the epidemic, I worked every day. And after the epidemic, I work every day now.
Yeah.
I understand it's not the same for everybody. So I feel
not at all. Right. It's interesting.
I feel incredibly lucky to be in an industry that can, stay, kind of stay open. And I'm in a job where I get to keep my job. So that's...
and I suspect the technology part is even more important at this moment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because everything that we do, and I, like I said, I work in technology, so it's pretty easy to enable my work. I can do it from anywhere. But I have to say, like, there's still like a mental or an emotional toll that, I couldn't pinpoint for a while. And I think that there's like little memes floating around, but it's kind of like the body's response to stress and, kind of this feeling of helplessness, because even though, like, I guess technically I'm okay, not everybody else is okay. And I feel that, because I'm not, I'm not a robot.
I'm not okay. Right. Yeah. It's funny.
On behalf of other people, not for myself.
Yeah. No, I get it. So very interesting. And then in the food industry, has it shifted to keep things safe, or like, how should we understand like takeout? How should we understand restaurants? And because we're being encouraged, even in New Orleans, although the restaurants are now starting to shut down a little bit more, to do takeout to support our restaurants. How do we understand that?
Yeah, so I think that, it's interesting because, obviously in the food industry, when you're making food for people, you have to pay attention to sanitation procedures and hygiene. But people are obviously anxious about it. And so I won't say that, like, we haven't done anything about it. I think everybody in the industry has revisited their sanitation policies, is increasing sanitation. I know one of the things that we're doing, like for delivery, and it's more of a comfort level for our customers, is using more stickers to seal the bags so that when they get that, like, they feel more secure that their food hasn't been, adulterated, and just making sure that people have gloves and there's hand sanitizer. We have hand sanitizer, we try to make hand sanitizer available for the delivery drivers. So when they come in, they can sanitize their hands before they take the bags.
That's really great.
So it's, so I think from that standpoint, everybody's just hyper vigilant about it. Mm-hmm. But I think I get this sense just in, just with general people and what I see on social media, that people are concerned about, how the virus can live on surfaces and, through, this kind of casual contact kind of thing. And so just
because we get so much information, then you don't know if what's true, what's not true. Right.
Yeah. And it's like it's 3 months old and we're learning new things every day. So there's just kind of this general anxiety, and it's tough because, people have to eat, Yeah. It's hard. Like, what do you do in the grocery store? So a couple weeks ago, I was in the grocery store and I was buying strawberries. And what I like to do is, like, I pick up the strawberry package and I flip it over to see, like, are the strawberries on the bottom moldy or crushed?
Right.
But I continue to do that and pick up, and then I stopped myself and I was like, you just touched like 6 packages.
Right, exactly. You start to be like, crap, I don't even know what I do. I mean, we shouldn't be doing that probably anyway. Yeah.
So was just like, okay, great. Like first of all, how many other people do the same thing that I do? How many people have touched all these packages of strawberries? And how many strawberry packages did I just, in fact, I mean, just by touching everything. So it's just that hyper awareness of like where you are and what your hands are doing, and trying to keep your hands away from your face.
Oh, that's the hardest. I don't realize how much you touch your goodness gracious.
Touch your face. And
seriously.
I wear glasses, and I'm constantly adjusting my glasses. Right. And I can't go anywhere to get them tightened because the places are closed. But so it's just this whole like just reevaluating your own behavior, and then interestingly like observing other humans' behaviors, like like, hey, don't be a jerk. Quit touching stuff.
Right, quit touching stuff. That's right.
Look, exactly. But don't touch,
Right, exactly. So, exactly.
Yeah. So I do wonder what this is going to be like after, after this stops or dies down, or like what is normal going to be?
Right. What is normal? Who knows, right? The universities are in this, like, I think they're going ahead, at least our university is definitely going ahead with online summer school, but now the students are supposed to sign up for classes for fall on the 15th of April. And so the question is like, what is fall?
Yeah. What does fall look like? Yeah. And it's so interesting too, because, the internet and online instruction, all these things have been around for years and years.
Right.
And when I think about like my quilting business, I won't say that I'm like, I was not first, to online classes, but certainly I embraced video a lot sooner than other people did. I embraced creating online classes sooner than a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I had a website before other people did. And now, I'm looking around and there's people scrambling to set up websites and to figure out how to use all this online technology, like Zoom and WebEx and those kinds of things. And so it's interesting that this event has kind of forced people to adapt to changes, that maybe
it's totally true.
Have had before.
It's so interesting because Ron, I don't think you've met him. My spouse, that's what he looks at is culture and how culture shifts and digital technologies and stuff, and like so our whole house is just like a buzz at like as we like watch this happening between I study my PhD work is in the culture of how people respond to catastrophe in cultural expression, and so the two of us are just like we're on sensory overload because culture's changing so fast and so many things are happening. And it's really, really remarkable to watch.
And it's interesting too, because now it's like it's forcing all businesses to change, right? Because I'd like look at places that were offering paid content. Well, now the market is flooded with so much free. I mean, there's always been free.
It's out of control, right? Everybody. I mean, that was I just posted in Just Want to Quilt a few minutes ago because there was somebody who posted a mask, an innovative looking mask pattern, but she was selling it on Etsy, and the comments on her site was so out of control of people getting really angry with her. It was already a problem for pattern designers that there was free material out there, but now it is like, as you said, it's flooded with like the sort of, we all must be generous, and so we're all putting free content out there. I mean, I'm not, but like, everyone's putting out free content, and sort of, what does that do to the economy? That it was already really difficult for people to make a living, pattern makers and others,
Right. So now it's like, what is the thing going to be? And, and don't get me wrong, like I recognize that, it's all about finding a balance, right? Like I am doing some free, but I am balancing it with paid, with paid content. So I'm trying to recognize that things are different, and trying to come up with a way to support my fans and consumers through this. But I also have a business to, I do have a business to run.
Yeah. How do you support businesses? How do you do that balance? And what do we as quilters do to support our community? Wow, where, I mean, the other thing is so crazy is that, I was like, okay, we're going to be quarantined. I've got my little projects to do, and I'm taking a certification class for the long arm online. And now it's like, there's no time to do anything. So, like, we would have been buying all kinds of stuff, right? Because we had nothing to do. But now we're all making masks and sort of put off our, like, I thought, this was my thought, was when we were going into this 2 weeks ago, that the quilting industry was going to have this great sort of almost renaissance because everybody was going to be home and shopping, and there was be nothing else to do. Now, will the mask crisis end soon? I think it will. And I know we're not going to talk about masks, but I'm watching, Vera Bradley come, like all these companies, these big companies are coming on to make masks. And also all of the big companies, like we're supposed to be talking to an industry person, it's going to be a short-lived crisis. And so I really do hope that by, April 15th, or sooner, that we're not needed and we can get back to quilting and support our quilting community by buying kits and other things. And, kits, I thought, see this, I'm such an idiot. I thought that kits would be on the rise because we couldn't go shopping.
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much, but it still might because we're supposed to be indoors for a long time, so.
But here's the interesting thing. So I know I didn't want to talk about this, but I have to get this out.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering, because initially the focus on the mask was for healthcare workers.
Right.
And it's super controversial, but I kind of objected to that.
I know you did. You really didn't. You felt really uncomfortable about it, and you really didn't like sort of the trajectory that was happening, and I completely respect that. Like, I get that everybody can have their opinion on this. What do you think about it now?
Well, here's what I think happened, because the focus, the mask focus was on the healthcare workers. When the thing about the kinds of masks that we have the capability to make are not, it's not personal protective equipment for healthcare workers. And I think what we needed was actually to focus on, because what are masks supposed to do? It's really to keep it's about you protecting other people from your germs.
Exactly.
Not protecting yourself from other people's germs.
It's true. I think what's funny about it, Ebony, is that a lot of people don't know that, so they'll wear that thinking that they're going to keep. So in some way, it's good. It's like you're keeping your germs away, even though you don't really think that that's why you. So it's not terrible. Even if like they're misguided, but it makes me laugh because I think
that is. I wonder if the focus had been, hey guys, let's make masks for each other and for our community, so that the people who purchase masks that are more appropriate in a hospital setting can give the mask they purchase to the healthcare workers. So instead of trying to fill that gap with the healthcare community, it's a different focus.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that had been the case, if there would be, hey, we're actually supplying masks for the general population to help protect each other from our own germs.
Right.
And would that have been more palatable? But then on the other hand,
people are not going to. Yeah, it's not enough. I don't think it's enough to get like a whole society. We're not smart enough to do that, I think.
Yeah. And it encourages people to go outside.
Yeah, that's true. And that was the first thing. So what's interesting, what we've seen in a shift in, so we had a major newspaper here in town ask my neighbor who sews, Judy, for 150 masks within the next 2 days. Because they are feeling uncomfortable with the reporters and photographers, and they want them to have masks on. Mm-hmm. And they can't get them another way. And again, they're protecting each other in case one of them's ill, so that they're not spreading it in the same way.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing locally, again, we're in New Orleans, the place to panic a lot, that local groups are asking. And so I think when local groups ask, then we as quilters and sewers should respect that, and help.
Yeah. And to me, it's it's very different from, and I'm very aware of things that, like the secondary disaster, which happened in Sandy Hook. You and I had talked about this before.
Yeah.
You know, where people just feel so compelled to help.
Right. That they create a new problem.
Yeah, but the way that they chose to help or that they were able to help actually causes more problems than it. You know, and so I try to be really aware of that and just not contribute, you know, and not be a contributing force to that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not judging other people and how, you know, and what they decide to do. It's just for me, I try to evaluate that a little bit more and not contribute to that. So, you know, other people are organizing this, and if people have local organizations that they're working with,
right. I was going to ask you about that because you have a house and you have a studio, and are you going between the two of them, or sort of how are you spending your time?
So I am going between the two of them. I don't live with anyone else. I don't encounter anyone along the way. It's me from my garage, you know, to the front door of my studio.
Yeah.
So in terms of like social distancing, like that's happening. I did not put out there and say, hey, people can come and like, I'm not doing deliveries. I'm not doing pickup.
Yeah.
I am shipping. But in terms of like here, you know, being here, I'm here recording videos and, you know, those types of things. And so to me, it's not much different from me being in my house because that's also a place where I am by myself. I don't encounter anybody, you know, from that standpoint. And because this, you know, I have a lot of equipment here, and I want to make sure that there's not like, you know, a roof leak or,
right.
You know, or
like the Van Gogh that was stolen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, I don't have security, you know, a security guard outside, you know, pacing around and you're looking at stuff. So, you know, but to me it's different for a small business because Joann's could have just had a couple of people going in for inventory and doing security and,
right.
You know, and not, you know, not selling things, or close the doors. If you order online, you can schedule a pickup and, you know, let's do that. But no, you know, we're open. Come on in.
Yeah.
You know, me, that's just, it's very different. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being hypocritical about it, but I just see mine a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Know? Just a little, you know, it's a little bit differently being like a sole person that works in, you know, in a business where no one is there and putting other people at risk.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, okay. So, I think do you have a free pattern for, hats? They're not called hats. What are they called?
So this was the other thing too. So the surgical caps.
Right. Surgical caps. Right. They're not called hats. Yes. Right.
Yeah. No, the surgical caps. Yeah. No, I didn't come up with my own pattern. Because like, you know, why reinvent the wheel?
Totally.
There are people who were doing this before this happened. So I've been using, Rob Appel had done a tutorial. I don't remember when he did it, but he posted a while ago, and he's got one and it's perfectly serviceable. So other people I should kind of clarify. So other people are sewing masks, and I'm not opposed to helping when people ask specifically and they, you know, it's a specific app. So I am working with a surgical team in New York, and they were caps.
They want caps. Got it.
They want caps.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm doing. You know, but I have a specific contact, and she, you know, she runs that team, and so she asked specifically for her team. You know, so in that case, I know where it's going. I know that they're going to be used. And I'm just using a tutorial that was already there. I don't really feel the need, you know, to tweak it.
Yeah.
You know, there are people, you know, selling their things. I don't know. I don't like adding to the noise. You know?
Yeah, I understand. I get it. It's funny because I feel like we're just collecting the noise, like, you know. Yeah. And it's been really because that was kind of what happened with our group, is that it was just being infiltrated with chaos. And so, so Seth Heckler and I decided to start a Facebook group so we could just keep track of all of it and keep directing people there. And that helped a lot because, you know, we can be like, it's not all over the place. I mean, it's still all over the place, but at least there's a place to sort of, you know, forward it or comment or take a look and see what's going on. So,
right. So, and I still, every day, like one or two new ones. And I'm like, oh my God,
I know.
What is this going? when is this going to end? And I know that
The
sounds
frenzy,
terrible,
right?
right?
Okay, so the one I found today, I'm totally curious. Have you seen the one from Handy Quilter where you can make the masks on a long arm?
Yes.
That seems interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how you do it. I should go to their website and see. But I thought, okay, that's clever because, it's a really interesting way. And I think it's what you're saying. There's a lot of ways you can use a long arm and you can even piece on a long arm, but we don't normally do that. And this is sort of thinking through how to use a long arm in creative ways. And I thought it was really interesting. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. So I think so in that case, so to me, okay, that is actually a way to do like mass producing masks, right?
Yeah.
You can load a lot more fabric and do a lot more mass across the width of your machine than you can kind of one at a time at your sewing machine.
Yeah.
Great. They provided formats for different for like all the computerized system, so it wasn't just about hey, this is just for us and our system. They
interesting. They did
for everybody. They did.
How interesting. So you could put it into your automated system.
Yep.
And it just automatically does it?
Yeah.
Wow. That is so insanely cool. Okay, now we really do have to try it because that's just so insanely cool.
Yeah. So that part is like, to me, that one, I don't mind that one as a new tutorial because it was like, this is truly like unique to computerized systems, but and there wasn't anything else out there specifically for computerized systems. So great. But seriously, how many 3-pleat fold mask tutorials do we need?
I know, it's true. It's so chaotic, and so and the thing that's getting me. Okay, I can make those. Like I can make it in my sleep. And actually, I have to say I've had a lot of Zoom meetings, and so I just turn off my camera and I sew as I'm like it makes it all tolerable. Is all I'm saying. And I feel like. Look, I'm still listening. I'm being a good citizen. I'm making masks, and I've spent 2 hours listening to people, and I made like 30 masks, right? So it's like it's a good thing,
You know what I struggle with a lot because, and this is where I struggle with when coming out with my own content.
Yeah.
Right, because this is this is kind of the classic problem. There's so much stuff out there. Does the world really need another X?
Right, exactly.
Another 9-patch tutorial.
Yeah.
And so, bumping that up against, like this particular thing, because some of it I think is people trying to capture their own audience.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, and that's as a content creator, you're not supposed to be worried so much about what other people are doing. You're supposed to do, build the stuff that's going to attract and maintain your own audience.
Yeah.
I think what made it too much for me is that I'm connected to all of these creators.
Yeah.
And so my timeline was just like all of my social media. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
For like 4 solid days.
Yeah.
Was
totally.
Everybody's take on it. And I think for me personally, that was overload.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. The other thing was really interesting was how slow, like not slow. I mean, we started so. Like, I can't remember, 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, 2 weeks, it's only been 2 weeks, craziness. 2 weeks that we were like, I was talking with Seth and we were like, I think we're going to have to make masks. And I put it out there and everyone was like, shut up, stay home, right? They were really mean. I got all these people being like, you're such an idiot. Why do you want to make masks? You're such a jerk, right? So I'm like, okay. By Thursday, it had switched. And by Friday, we had put up a website and our group and we were sort of watching culture change. It took like Jenny Doan and Leah Day and all these people who I completely respect. It took them until about the 24th or 27th, like to put out a pattern, which I thought was really interesting, that it took them time to catch up. Like our main people were catching up. It was really interesting.
We're all struggling with this, right? And some of us struggle with this more than others. Like I'm not jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
I am, I'm not saying I'm not willing to contribute to the cause, but that is not the way that I choose to contribute.
And we can all, we all do what we can do, right? Like it's all.
Everybody does do. And I think that, for the people who kind of came late to the party, if you will, I'm wondering if they were kind of having the same internal struggle. Like, do I do I want to, do I want to add to this? Also, the science isn't really, there's conflicts in the science, and do I really want to add to this? And can I, is there some way that I could support someone else in this, or do I really need to do this? And, it could be a function of them listening to their audience, or it could be that they got a specific request locally.
Yeah.
That they needed help, and here was a way, because, if I've been reached out to locally, here's the requirements that I have, and I need to do it this specific way. And instead of taking the time to figure out, and search for, in the thousands of variations, do I have one that fits this criteria that I know about, or is it just faster for me to, make my own? So, and that could just be a decision, that they made based on the audience that they're talking to. For those of us, kind of looking on the outside, it just looks like overwhelm.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think also what happened from my perspective is, Tulane closed. We got notice that we were closing on March 11th and that we weren't coming back, that they were sending the students home. That was a Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday. And the students had to be out of the dorm by Saturday. It was crazy, right? And then as we were going to the grocery, so we went to the grocery store because Bron and I were freaking out, right? And our kid was still in school, like the high schools hadn't closed. But we had just been told we're not going back to work to get what we needed from the building, and that all the students had to go away by Saturday. So and then on the way, and so we went to the grocery store, and everybody thought we were complete freaks because we were like, oh my God, right? We were like, the world is ending, right? Because we're getting the message from our school that stay indoors, don't leave right now. And as we're driving home, the whole NBA thing happens, right? So we had this really different vision of it, of our whole world is sort of crashing down. And by the 13th, the schools were closed and we were indoors. And so I think it was really early that we were super aware of, and then also my mother-in-law and our families live in Santa Clara County, so they were closed too, right? So, my brother-in-law works at Google, and they were all sent home. And so we were in a situation where we were seeing it very differently than a lot of people who it wasn't hitting yet. And the panic on our side was very great, very early. And so it's been really interesting to watch. It wasn't fun. I mean, it just felt like a freak, right? Because I'm like, the sky is falling. And I was like, shut up. Right? So,
and
I don't
Illinois
know.
was a little bit behind the curve. So I would say that the company that I work for, my last day in the office was the 12th.
See, that's early though, right? 12th is early.
The 12th was early.
Yeah.
And Illinois didn't shut down until the 21st.
Yeah, that's big. Right. Same with Louisiana. They didn't, and so, and we still had quilters going off on adventure and stuff, and I was freaking out. Now, we've had, some terrible stories of, quilters, meeting at guilds or going to church and then terrible things happening. So, the one I'm really curious about is, because we didn't end up going, but was QuiltCon. We haven't heard anything about that. And they met at the end of February in Texas.
Right.
So I'm really curious if anything came out of that, because I haven't heard anything.
I haven't either, but you know what? I wonder if anybody would have.
If that would be tracked. Right?
If they'd even make that connection. Just because, because that was February and things didn't really hit the fan here until, just in terms of the United States. I mean, there was stuff kind of happening in Washington. That's way...
that was way far away. Washington. Yeah, what was interesting about it is, we got that whole backlash on, Mardi Gras. The reason we're in such bad shape is Mardi Gras. Okay. And part of why we didn't go, I mean, we didn't do anything. We never go. We're so lame. We don't go to any parades. We're very we're staying home in our house, right? So we didn't go out for Mardi Gras, but part of it is that Mardi Gras was conflicting with going to QuiltCon. And teaching and all kinds of weird stuff that happened. But I wondered if, we haven't heard anything about that. So, I don't know. Yeah. It's really interesting.
I haven't either. I've heard of, very few, at least in my circle, not that I'm connected to everybody on the planet, but at least with the quilters that I'm connected to, I've seen a couple of cases of suspected.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, we see individuals, but we haven't seen like coming out of a quilt show kind of thing, you know, because there were other quilt shows that continued, you know. The Pensacola show kept going, and it was in Florida. That was, you know, I was freaking out that people were going. People were getting mad at me for freaking out. But, you know, there were a lot of quilt shows that stayed open quite a long time. Even the Dallas show set up. Remember that?
Right.
And then they had to, they would shut down and they weren't allowed to open.
I think what's crazy is that, like, it went from this is not a big deal to, oh my God, in just the space of a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like it was, and I'll even say, like, I'm in a high risk category.
Me too.
And so I take respiratory infections very seriously.
Me too.
And I was, you know, by the 12th, I was concerned enough to say, you know what, this is my last day. Like, I don't care what the company's going to do, but this is going to be my last day in the office. Yeah. And so even then, like, I had been kind of, I'd been worried about it the week before, but not to the extent that, like, you know, my anxiety was like, I'm not liking this public transportation. Somebody on here is sick. You know, I don't want to touch anything.
Right. That's hard. But, yeah,
that's hard. I felt relatively safe, like, at the office, but getting there, I was like, I'm going wait for people. Yeah. And so, you know, so I feel like I went through the same thing that, like, the whole country went through, which is like, you know, it's something to be worried about, but just, like, you know, it's, you know, it's not a big deal yet. You know?
Yeah.
Like one person, you know,
and,
you know, okay, there's 7 people, you know, and then it's you know, that exponential curve thing is scary. Is scary. It's absolutely scary. And so, you know, so I think there's still areas in the country that haven't hit that, you know, that they haven't jumped that distance yet to making it a big concern. And the whole thing is that you want to freak out before it's a big deal because you never want it to get to be a big deal. Yeah,
it was so heartening to see that Santa Clara Valley is flattening the curve, you know, and that they were so smart about things. We'll see what happens here. I see conflicting reports, you know, so I don't know.
Well, I think part of it is that, you know, we really have no idea what the magnitude of this is because there's not enough testing. Like I was listening to NPR today, and there's hospitals that they can run the test, but they don't have the reagents to actually, you know, it's like they can test, they'll do the nasal swab, they'll collect the samples, but they can't actually run the test because they don't have the reagents to process it. And so I feel like it's so hard to say, like, are we flattening or not? Have we hit the top of the wave? How many people are now, you know, immune to this particular strain? We have no concept because we're not testing everybody. We're testing the people who are sick enough, you know, to need attention at a hospital. Yeah. Have like confirmed absolute contact. And I think even the people who have absolute contact with someone, they're not testing until they start showing symptoms. Yeah. So, you know, we don't have our arms around this thing yet. And I think that's the part that just makes it so uncertain because we don't have all the data. Yeah. So we're kind of reacting to, you know, and taking like the most extreme approach. Yeah. Because we don't have enough information to take a more liberal approach. Yeah.
It's craziness. Yeah. Well, as always, I completely adore you. I just think you're smart and interesting. And you and I have to do something with copyright. We haven't released our Just Want to Create book because all this happened, so we can't easily we can't ship anything easily, and we got to figure out all that. But every time I'm online with you and you get there first on some issue, I'm like, you are so spot on. Like, I swear, like, we need to spend some time collaborating on the copyright stuff because
we do. And, you know, I've been thinking, like, should I go to law school? Like, like a third career.
You know, it wouldn't be terrible. Yes. Well, let's say goodbye and let's chat about that. But you would be a wickedly good lawyer, I have to say. So, seriously. As always, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It's been really great chatting with you. We'll have to do this again soon.
All right. Fabulous. Thank you. Okay. Sure. Hold on. So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend Garr. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.